back. I'm delighted to say Luke Loughlin is with us this morning. Luke, good morning to you. How are you?
Well, lads, how's things? How are you getting on?
Yeah, good. How are the preparations going for the next round?
Well, we haven't trained yet since the weekend, so look, it hasn't really hit home yet, I think, because we put so much emphasis on the county final at Lomans. Like they were just that monkey on our back for so long that I think now everything is just a bonus, if you get me. And I think training out tonight will really will ramp things up. We're looking forward to the next 2 weeks. It's a great chance, actually.
So, talk to us then about the build up to the Lomans game, will you? Like, if a team is a monkey on your back, how do you talk about it? How do you deal with that? How do you prepare for it? How do you try and chisel them off?
They had beaten us at times, so Lomans are a great team and they've got great players, and I know a lot of them personally, but like they'd been in 8 county finals there in a row, right? They'd won them easy, they'd come back, they'd lost, they'd have done it every sort of way, and like they've beaten us by a point in semi-finals, they've beaten us, they've hammered us, I think it was just our time, everyone's coming to I think we're just growing up a small bit more. Like maybe we weren't ready. We'd no real leaders. We just prepared properly, and a lot of that goes down to Lara. I think he got us right mentally, and he's a special man. He's a madman, but he's a special man, all right. And I think a lot of it comes down to the way he had us. Like he left no stone unturned. Like I can't go into like the detail the man goes into. It's just he leaves nothing to chance, and I think that's what we were missing. Maybe we were just trying to play them 15 on 15 for too long, but this time we were just ready for every scenario, and I think that's just all it comes down to. Lara at the end of it, that he had us that ready.
And did you talk about the opposition much in the build-up, or did you, like, how much of that do you do? Because you obviously have to, like, on an individual basis, your job is going to be, like, they have some good players, as you said. Someone needs to look after their main man, and so obviously you have to do that, but you can't talk yourself into this is a superpower and Jesus, we need to be really, really worried about that.
Yeah, I know, yeah. So a lot of it was for us. So we had a good season, and a lot of it was for us. We'd finished games brilliantly. So we played a couple of championship games where we went the year unbeaten there, but it was at the end of games we were brilliant. So we just always knew that we were just in it at the end, we'd win. Like he put that belief in us. Whereas, before we were like, we just didn't have the bottle to go on and maybe, go into the next year. Whereas this time we just knew if we were in it, we'd win it. And it actually is as simple as that. It's just a mindset thing. And it's not just one person believing it, it's a whole club. Everyone in the club just felt it was our year this year, and it's a special thing that's happening out in the Downs at the minute, and I'm just so happy to be a part of it, to be honest.
It's 17 years, Luke, as well. Like you talked about a gap for a club, like so.
Yeah.
Year on year, that weight of expectation and hope that you can bridge that gap becomes stronger, you'd imagine.
Yeah, it does. Like I just tell the lads that, like, my year when I got to start at that, the Downs weren't great, and we played 2 relegation games 2 years in a row, won both of them by a point, 8-7. And then after that, like, not great, but they had a couple of minor teams that won the championships and under 21s. But yeah, the 17 years thing, we never really thought about it like that, because none of us were playing. Well, Brendan now is on the panel, Brendan Murta, but like none of us seen it. So none of us really knew about it. We just heard about it. So there was no real expectation on us to bring Aaron back. So it was kind of all new for all of us. But we did put pressure on ourselves because we all are getting a little older. Like I'm the oldest on the team there that starts on the team at 27, which is for a club is something really special, And we just kind of wanted to start making our own history. Like we're the first team now so the last 2 times they won the championship, 03 and 05, they lost to the Loud champions, and now we're after beating them, obviously. So we're just on a bit of a journey now at the minute, taking it day by day, and not really putting too much pressure on ourselves, but definitely looking to the future and preparing properly and giving ourselves every chance to go on and do whatever, you know.
There's a 7-minute drive between Lomans and the Downs GAA clubs. I just mapped it according to Google Maps there. So it's like Shelbyville versus Springfield. Like that's incredible too. The whole of Mullingar must have been lit.
So actually I trained with Lomans for a month when I was about 9, I think. So that's where I started my footballing career. But I play hurling with Clonkill, and a couple of the Lomans lads play hurling with Clonkill. So the clubs are very close. You know, we'd be a bit more country club. We're kind of just on the N4 there near Kinnegad, and they'd be more town. But we've a lot of players from all around, you know, big club. But there is a great rivalry there, and such respect. Like, they were great. They've been great champions, you know, great champions, great team, you know, and just nice lads as well. You know, that's all part of sport. But like, you can't win everything, and there's always, no matter how good you are, there's always someone that can beat you, you know, on any given day.
And this time it was your turn to beat them. And
thank God.
And so the aftermath of that, the outpouring of emotion, to get up to that high and then to come down and then to get back up for a match. We were just talking about this with Perth Slattery earlier. They won the league and then had to go out in the cup the next week and managed to do it. What was that like? That whole experience?
It's just two ways I can look at it. So like, just like the club perspective, right? So like, it was amazing. Like, I can't, like, it was so up and down, but it was a kind of like, I was able to take it all in. But then, like, on personal, so for me before, like, ups and downs, like, so I would get, the highs were so high for me that, like, even just winning a game like that, I would, even without drink, like, I would get hard to work the next day because lows were so low for me. But now I'm just kind of, it's hard to say, but I'm almost flatlining. So like, I'm not getting as excited by things, but then the trade-off then is that I'm not getting as down by things either. So I can just enjoy them like I'm just gonna say, like a normal person. But then, which is obviously great, you know, because it just shows where I am mentally, and that's obviously a blessing. But for the club there, you know, like going to the schools, all these things that you kind of take for granted, it's just so special, you know. And like, even now the club's going to have to have it in with us next year. Like, it's just, you know, class stuff that you nearly forget about, you know.
When you're talking about the highs and the lows there, I think some people will be familiar with your story, but other people won't be too familiar. What do you have to not go and celebrate? Can you do all the stuff apart from like what can you and not do at the moment?
So I go tell you now, I can't drink anyway. That's the big No, I can, and like, just say the night of the final there, like, I was so happy to just, but I think people just accept now that they're not drinking is just part of my life, and I just love playing, and I think that's where, like, nobody would expect me, like, even I'd say if I didn't even go to the celebrations, I'd say nobody would care, because the playing is my part. I don't feel like I'm missing anything. I'm going to be honest with you, in my lifetime I've celebrated that county final 100 times, you know, for no reason. And like, sometimes I feel like I'm missing out, but then I have to think about, right, look, if I drink or whatever, like, you have to just think of where you'll end up or who you're going to hurt. Because for me, like, that's what always happens. Like, just always ends up bad. Like, there's just no good outcome of it, and I accept that, and that's part of my life. But then sometimes as well, I can stay out maybe a bit too late just to be seen to be kind of involved, and I actually just don't enjoy it. So I just go home. I'm like Houdini and just gone, you know. And that's a safe place for me, is to know that I can always go home. Like, it's different there in a different country. Like, just say the Westmeath holiday there, the lads that went on it, they obviously had a great time and they played great when they get back. But that's another part for me there. Like, if I just start to feel uncomfortable somewhere, I just can't go home. Like, I was in Mexico. I can't just.
Right. So you didn't. That was.
No, I didn't go. No,
yeah. So that's wisdom, though, right? Like.
Maybe.
It definitely is, right? Like, it's the bit where previously you would have put yourself in danger, you would have experienced the danger and not been able to deal with it. Now you're like, that's a danger zone. I'm just going to avoid it.
But it wasn't even that. Like, there's obviously loads of ways you look at it, but I didn't mind any of the downs that's going. They completely deserved it. But I just felt me being captain or joint captain with Mark and a little older, and I felt almost guilty going. I was like, I just have such a great opportunity with the downs here that I can go to Mexico anytime. And like, this sort of stuff just doesn't come around too often. And I always thank God I paid off, because I would have had a fairly sad head on me Monday morning now. But, everything happens for a reason, I think anyway. And that was definitely a decision I think that I got right.
You had that incredible year with Westmeath and the Tailteann Cup success as well, Luke, which was just incredible. And to see the scenes when you came back to Westmeath as well was really lovely. You then made that decision, I guess, to bring people who weren't familiar with your story, this story of just a few days after the match. Was there any thinking behind the timing of that, or?
No, actually, Sinead Hussey from RT had got in contact with me before that, and she had wanted to do something. It just happened to be around the time of the Tailteann Cup, actually, and obviously it came at a great time, because obviously we won. It wouldn't have been the same if we'd lost. But so I did the interview, whatever, and like, the reaction I got from it was crazy. I couldn't believe it, and to see the amount of people then that still get in contact with me that are going through some of the same stuff. And like, a lot of people they kind of just coast through life and just get comfortable in the uncomfortable, like, they don't sort anything that's wrong. Like, not saying everyone has to go to Coomera for 3 months. I wouldn't wish that my worst enemy at times, to be honest, but like, I think we're just so consumed with what other people think that we nearly just let our problems lie type thing and just keep carrying on with life and don't sort things. But I was just so happy that I felt like, when I came out with Coomera, I kind of had this, like, people were kind of looking at me different. They were looking at me different before I went in there, but they were definitely looking at me different when I came out. And now I kind of had this, like, it's a weight off my shoulders now. It's just part of my life. I just don't drink. I obviously don't do drugs. I just try to live a healthy as life as possible. And thank God for football at times, because, there was times in my life when I didn't have it, and there was times that I hated it. And even there, I was injured there after the Tailteann Cup. I got injured for, I think, 2.5 months, and telling you, it's fairly low after that. You can't do anything. Like, sometimes when lads get injured, that's when they can start enjoying themselves a bit. I couldn't do anything, like, not, and that's where your head can get at you. So that's when you have good people around you. You get back to the things that work for you: meditation, trying to exercise, all this sort of stuff.
How old were you when you went to Coomera?
I was 26.
Okay, so it's recent. It's last year.
Yeah, but I was 500 days sober yesterday, actually.
Wow, congratulations.
Monday. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, when you put it into numbers, it's kind of cool. Yeah, it's cool for me anyway. I was 26, so yeah, I went to Coomera in Italy. I was there for 3 months, and I'm going to be honest, I actually had a great time there. And that might sound crazy, but I had no phone, no distractions. I was able to meet people that were in similar situations, and to be honest, people in a lot worse situations than me, and I was somewhat grateful for my life at that time, because there's some people that their livers had given up, and I was heading that way. Like, there was no doubt about it. I was getting to that stage, and people with no family, and I kind of, you nearly feel bad for having problems when some people are coming out with the problems that they have.
Can I just take you back to a bit before that? You talked about, people don't get upset anymore when you leave, or you do the old Irish goodbye on nights out. Were you a public drinker? Like, were you drinking around like locally? So you would have been known as a drinker.
No, definitely, yeah. Like, I would have been known as a headbanger. That's
right.
Just simple as that, yeah. Like, I could go out there on a Friday night. I might go home till Monday evening or Tuesday, and like, and I'd love to, the way sometimes people's lives that happens once in a blue moon, or once. I was doing that on the daily, not on the daily, on the weekly, every weekend, and you can't live like that. There's only so many chances people give you, and I'm so lucky. The amount of people that try to help me and I was just so in denial of the problems that I had that I kind of pushed them away. And I'm still lucky that a lot of people stood by me. A lot of people I pushed away in life that I might never get back, and that's something I have to live with because of the stuff I done and my actions. But I am very grateful for the people that are still in my life and that do so much for me. Like, I'm going to be honest, until maybe recently, I was a glorified, like, I was wrapped in bubble wrap, like, you know, I was an adult baby. You know, I was always someone looking after me. I'd always someone knowing where I was, and it's nice in a way, but you kind of just have to get on with your life. Like, the novelty now, I say, of me being sober it's kind of over now, and it had been over the last while, but it just shows that people just care about you, and everyone has a few people that do care closely about them. And I'm lucky. I've so many people that look out for me. Like, even before games, you know, like, people I might not have seen in years, you know, text me before every game, you know, just best of luck and delighted to see you're doing well, you know. It's nice feeling.
It's amazing how important you speaking out as well, Luke, has been and will continue to be for other people. Like, I remember you in your interviews last year even speaking about abandonment issues and like trying to deal with those things, and like that's something that will touch a chord with a lot of people that maybe hear you speak, and you're a person of influence as well, that they take that on board.
Yeah, that's it though. Like, it's nearly getting better getting advice off a stranger than off the people you love you most, because I find as well, like, you know, just say my mother is very close to me and whatever, like, just before she could be giving me advice, but the last thing you want to do is listen to the person closest to you. But when a stranger speaks it might hit something different, or someone that you can relate to. Obviously, a lot of young lads involved in sport have kind of reached out to me with stuff, and like, it's very hard, to be honest, to get back to them all because it takes up a lot of my energy. So sometimes I just have to say, look, I'm not a counsellor, I'm not a professional, but this has worked for me. But because there was a time there, like, I was kind of getting invested in people's lives a bit too much, and it was kind of wearing on me, like, you know. But them issues are all, like, we all suffer with a bit of something, and like, not everyone's perfect, but like, I don't mind speaking about it because not that I'm over it, but I just know how to deal with it now. And like, if there's a way someone can get over their issues without having to go through the suffering maybe that I went through or someone else went through, why would I hold on to that knowledge when I can share it with someone else and help them? Like, helping someone is such an easy way to make yourself feel good. Like, I'm not saying that's why you do it, to make yourself feel good, but like, when you can help someone that's going through something, like, that's fulfilling them. Like, that's fulfilling a bit of a purpose for me, I feel, like, helping someone, you know. And I get a great kick off that. So if you got any problems, let them on me here, I'll help you.
So is this going to change your life beyond the obvious? Like, is this going to change the course of what it is that you want to spend your time doing on a day-to-day basis?
Well, like, so to be honest, I still don't know what I want to do. So I've been in the army, I've been in college, I've worked jobs, worked in pubs, just you name it. But so I recently just been chatting to my girlfriend or whatever, and she's kind of a deep enough person, so we kind of talk, and she could say, like, so what's your purpose? Like, and when I think about it, like, maybe helping people, so in summer, so I had to take action to get into that. So I started an online PT course at Tailteann. So there's a way that I can maybe start into something. You get me? I don't know how.
PT, personal what
training and strength conditioning. So it's like, it's just nearly, I don't know if that's going to help, but that's taking action. Whereas some people say, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll do it. I'd be one of them people where I'd say, oh, I'll leave it off.
Yeah.
But like, you just have to start taking action, you know.
The procrastinating Irish male. But it's
definitely, yeah.
The reason I'm asking is that because we had Eric Donovan in studio, and his story is not a million miles away from yours, and I think you know, he talked about doing a course in counselling, and I know that Oisin McConville has done the course in counselling and found that useful. And here's you saying that, like, people, you know, people coming to you asking you for help, and you actually have a template for it. Like, it seems like a fairly natural thing to do.
Yeah, definitely. I just kind of, I haven't really thought too much about the future. I'm just living in the moment at the minute, and like, when I came out of Westmeath, my whole purpose was playing for Westmeath, like nothing else. Honestly, every decision I made was around being the best that I could have been and training as much as I could. And kind of when that ended, there's kind of like, there's that, like, you know, when the highs and there's the drop off. I was like, I just remember like a few days after, just actually with club championship, I like 5 rounds of club championship in 2 weeks, and I got injured. And I just remember after I got injured, just been like sitting. I was in one of them boots, like a boot for my foot, and just been sitting on my couch, and like, what do I do now? Like,
Yeah.
what do I actually do now? Like, and I know, like, like our sport, GAA does not pay the bills. Like, I'm completely so aware of that. But I was just in a bit of a bubble for a few months. Things were going great, so you know, I'd say, you know, it's time to maybe start thinking about the future a small bit, but not putting any much, not putting too much pressure on myself. You know, you have enough people that put pressure on you without doing it yourself.
Like, do you recognise, Luke, the person who went into Coonwara at first? Like, I'm sure, and a lot of people's stories tend to be quite similar, that when they first start, I guess, dealing with these issues of addiction, that they're almost trying to con people in places like that, of, you know, convincing them that they're okay. Like, was your story along similar lines, or how was your? How do you differentiate between the early portion in Coonwara and where you're at now?
Well, they came to me after a few weeks, and they were like, "You're not learning that in here." And I wasn't. I was in there recharging the batteries to go again, because I had no options left. I had nowhere else to go, and like, it literally was my last option. So for my last option, like, I had to do something. And sorry, I don't know, I'm just having a video problem here.
No worries, we can see you. Oh.
Yeah, can you see me? Yeah.
We did, until you said I have a video problem, and then you flicked us off.
Yeah, no, just 1 second here.
No worries.
Yeah, there you go. So I definitely recognise a lot of differences. So when I went in there, as I said, I was recharging the batteries, and I just wanted to go again. And when they came to me after a few months, I kind of just resignated. I was like, I need to hop on. Like, a woman actually came to me, Josie was her name, I probably shouldn't say that, but she came to me and told me a story about a drink driver that had killed her son. And she prayed for the drink driver every day and used to meet him. And I just remember just feeling like absolute, the lowest person in the world after she told me that. And I just made a decision there and then. I was like, I'm going to do whatever I can to get better, or to get somewhat better, you know. She opened my eyes. A lot of people in there opened my eyes. Like, there was a priest from Westmeath in there as well, and he'd be coming in and like telling me the results of games, and he'd be like, 8 weeks now and you've championship, 8 weeks, you know. Like, there's such amazing people out there. And like, when I think back to it, to the person I was, like, even when I tell, so my girlfriend has never seen me drink, obviously, thank God. And even when I tell her stuff about the way I used to be, like, she's like, there's no way that's the same person. She's like, there's no way. And maybe that's the decision I make every day, to try and be a better person. But it is a constant battle between what you are and what you are, between where you want to go. So that's what I find happiness is where your happiness is, for me, is the space between where you are now and where you're going. And so in that space, I'm quite happy, you know.
It's a truly remarkable story, and it hasn't finished yet, because obviously, you know, the season is ongoing, but the 500 days is the greatest achievement. Whatever about stopping the incredible Lomans team and all their great players, that's great, but 500 days is truly special, and you know, you have to keep it up.
Yeah, like, for me, it just, like, that people go on about trophies and winning this and winning that. Being healthy is a real trophy for me. And like, that might sound like so cheesy, but like, waking up fresh, like, I don't hurt anyone anymore. I don't have to worry about upsetting someone, or I don't worry about my actions, having to worry about my actions, or missing work, or missing a game, or, you know, hurting someone's feelings, or just, you know, or someone not being able to sleep, or not knowing where I am, you know. And like, that might sound so crazy to someone else, but that's what my life was like, because that was every day. Like, my mom told me the only time she could sleep was when she knew I would either before drink or after drink get like a belt of depression. It could be a week, whatever, 5 days. She said that's the only time she slept, because she knew that's I was in room, I couldn't move. Like, and like, that's hard to hear, because that's the person that cares about you the most. And you know, now that doesn't, like, that's just not. I can just see happiness in the people around me's life, because things are just normal now, you know, and they don't have to worry about stuff. Like, I have other brothers, and to be honest, I do get a lot of guilt sometimes, thinking that maybe I took all of my mother's attention away from my brothers because she was just worrying about me all the time, you know. But now, you know, I have a younger brother, I have a youngest brother, Josh, and he's in school, and like, they still have to look after him, whereas at least now they don't have to worry about a 27-year-old. Like, he's a grown man, like, you know, and that's life though as well, you know.
Yeah. No, look, you've been incredibly honest again, and I do think Shane makes the point that, like, it's really powerful to have somebody come out and speak about these things, because so frequently it's kind of hidden. Like, headbanger around town, that's that family's problem. It's nobody else's problem. But for you to come out and say, actually, you can change and you can develop and evolve, and it's not an easy thing. It takes a lot of work, and it's an everyday struggle. Like, I do think it's really powerful.
There's every day is a blessing, but every day is a battle, you know. Like, I still have days where I don't want to go to work, and like, that's where it starts for me. Like, is when I start like feeding into like my thoughts, because thoughts are just thoughts. They're not going to kill anyone, but it's when you start acting on them, like, oh, fuck work, or fuck doing this, or fuck training, and then that turns into, oh, do you know what, I might go into town, or you know what, a few pints will be grand, sure, it'll be different this time. So it is genuinely a battle, and I don't think people get that part. It is hard. Like, it's not easy. And people think now it's the games and the training that's, or no, like, say the winning, so the Tailteann Cup and Championship. People think that's the hard part. It's the day to day that's hard. See, because when you win all this stuff, you're happy. Why would you want to ruin your life when you're happy? It's literally, it's the small battles for me that are the hardest. And there is times when I think to myself, oh, a few pints to be grand, and I'm like, what is wrong with you? You know, I have to reflect on all these decisions, you know.
Well, it seems like you're making the right decision most days anyway. Again, thanks very much for making the time to talk to us this morning. It is really important, I think, for us to help amplify these conversations. And again, best of luck with the whole thing. You're playing lights out at the moment, so
long may it last.
Exactly. Luke, thanks a million.
Lads, take it easy. Have a good week.
You too. That's Luke Loughlin there, and I think that story speaks for itself. A brilliant outcome. There's definitely people out there who are suffering and are struggling through it. C Bracken in the comments says, very tough to be off the drink around the GAA. I've been through it myself. Well done to Luke. It's so entwined in our culture of celebration, and like, even that whole thing about drilling the holes in the cup so you couldn't drink out of the cup. People still do it, and it's grand for everybody who can handle it, but for the people who can't,
it's the worst environment to be in if you can't. And like, to sit listening to someone like Luke, and to sit listening to someone like Eric Donovan yesterday, you can't help but be left thinking, Jesus, the strength of these lads, because you talk about their sporting achievements, but to bracket them with what they've dealt with away from the ring or away from the GAA pitch is just, it amplifies their experiences and their achievements on the pitch, because they're just incredible human beings above all else.